Welcome back to my channel. I just want to give a quick breakdown of where Bitcoin is at in the market, what we can expect for Bitcoin in the near to short term, what we can expect for altcoins in the near to short term, and a quick news headlines that I felt was necessary to speak about. So I want to get right into that. And later on in the video, we'll also check out some charts such as the ISM, Bitcoin dominance, and the volume profile, just to give you a good idea of where we're at and if you should be buying or selling altcoins or should you be doubling down on buying just more Bitcoin. Let's get right into it. So first off, quickly as promised, I just want to break down a few stories. State Street to launch a digital asset custody business in 2026 amid shifting regulatory landscape. And they have been talking about this for a few different banks, and it's crazy to see one of the biggest banks, State Street, out there that they finally want to custody digital assets such as Bitcoin and probably a few other top 20 altcoins. I'd assume it would be stuff like Ethereum, Solana, AVAX, Cardano, XRP, Chainlink, things like that. But this is just one of many banks that will eventually have to allow crypto assets and allow crypto custody, or they're going to get priced out of the market. And other banks that decide to do so are going to slowly push them out of contention. So they're going to have to start allowing crypto adoption. And this is honestly inevitable at this point. This is the reason why we're all here. This is no surprise. Next, coming over here to Bitcoin Archive, Trump media has authorized Bitcoin and crypto purchases, says Bloomberg. Now, this is nothing new. We know that America wants to stockpile not only more Bitcoin, but they also want to stockpile things like XRP, Ethereum, Chainlink, and so on and so forth. Even things like Aave as well, which is the biggest lending and borrowing platform that we have in crypto. So this is just one step further and one step closer to getting to an America and potentially a global economy where we're trading digital assets, which are obviously, as you know, borderless. So this is just another step in the right direction, and we're not too far off from coming to a point where crypto is a mainstay. Now, I also want to come over to the ISM. As you can see, I only do updates when I feel like it is necessary to do an update, and the ISM printed for the month of January. And as you can see here, we actually slightly ticked up above the 50 mark, pretty much at 51 now. Now, this isn't enough to spark a massive altcoin season, but this is definitely moving in the right direction. Like I was telling you last video, when looking at the ISM, the 50 mark is the neutral line, and we want to see it reach the mid to higher 50 levels, and then we start to sell off all of our crypto assets as we touch 60 or go above 60. As you can see here, if we go back 10 years on the chart, you can see when we topped out in 2021, we were above 60. When we topped out in late 2017, we were right below 60. And as you can see, we had this big dip. You guys all know where that big dip came from, but we're only slightly crossing the 50 mark at the moment. So it's not enough to spark an altcoin season. I'd like to see some higher price movements for not only altcoins on their Bitcoin pair, but also different charts like this that are indicating when we should be looking to have a altcoin season. When looking at the MVRZ score, we are still currently below the 5-point mark, which is the neutral mark for this particular chart. I'd like to see it pass and tick above over the 5 mark. Likely when we get into the red zone, which is the 6.5 to the 8.5 mark, is when we usually see a top for Bitcoin, as you can see here detailed in the past cycles. So we're not even close to having an altcoin season yet where we see not only Bitcoin go up, but other altcoins. So until we tick above the 5 mark, I don't see there being any reason why you should be selling altcoins or crypto at any point. Right now, we're kind of sitting at the 2.5 range. We're not even close to where we should be before we should start even considering taking profits in altcoins or Bitcoin. But when I see the MVRZ scores tick up above the 6-point mark is when I might start to look for confluence in other charts that we look at to see if we should be taking profits at that point. Now, coming over to the Bitcoin dominance, another key measure of where the entirety of the altcoin market is at, because as we know, everything trades against Bitcoin, and we should be counting our money in Satoshis and not USD. Bitcoin dominance has fallen from the 64, almost 65% range that we were talking about in the last video, but we're still up close to the 58% range to roughly at 57.7. So when looking at this chart, I would definitely like to see it break structure. It has not broken any structure yet, and some people are already saying how an altcoin season start because Bitcoin dropped below 60% in dominance, which is insane to me, because if you look back on previous cycles, we had massive breaks in structure, and that's where we saw altcoin season actually pick up and start. So we haven't broken structure yet. If you look here on the chart, we're still on a uptrend. So until I see market structure break for the Bitcoin dominance, I don't see any reason to think an altcoin season is coming around the corner. Not only that, the Fed has still decided to continue quantitative tightening without lowering the interest rates in the last FOMC meeting. We don't have the next one until March 18th and 19th. And I don't see anything changing really until we either get an interest rate cut or we begin to quantitative ease like we did in 2021 after the season that we all had. We know what season that was. So there are still a lot of macro factors keeping us away from altcoin season. So unfortunately, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. We can see altcoins move up with Bitcoin, but to see altcoins dominate against Bitcoin are two very different things. I'm almost certain that when Bitcoin goes back up above 100K, possibly to new all-time highs passing $108,000, that we will see performance in the altcoin market. But once again, when you look at those altcoin to BTC charts, that is the ultimate signifier of when we're in an altcoin season. And by that point, I also see a lot of these other charts that I've shown you and some of the charts that I'm going to show you in confluence to tell us that we're in a altcoin season for sure. Now, when coming back to one of my favorite charts, I've spoken about this chart many times. This is the volume profile. If you don't know, I'm explaining it because we have a lot of new people here. So as you can see, these volume nodes, the ones that peak, are what we call the peaks of the mountain, and in between are the valleys, and this is where price flows pretty freely. So we can build at key resistance and support zones at these massive volume nodes. And as you can see here, we built up a lot of price action along this volume node, which is why we're currently using it as support. If we were to break down past the 92 level the 92 level, I would see price fall back down pretty freely into the 70K range. We might trade sideways for slightly at the 75, but I don't think we'd be able to hold that position for long. We'd probably bounce right back down. Now, how likely is it that we fall back down into this range? I think it's very unlikely. As you can see, this volume node is extremely strong at this point, and there's a lot of previous price action built up around this key area. So we're currently using it as support. I wouldn't really panic until we get below 92,000 and really breach 90K. That would be where I would start to feel a little more uneasy about where we are in the charts. Honestly, I think we have more potential to shoot to the upside in the near to medium term versus us coming below this volume node. There's a ton of support. We've already touched this line multiple different times, and we've tested it and we've been able to bounce back up. Just drawing a rough trend line, very, very rough trend line, you can see that we're building sort of an uptrend as well over the longer term. And I think we can continue to see it bounce off this trend line like we did multiple times. And as we have this volume node, like I've been saying, using it as support as well. So we're almost in the position where we're set up for a pretty nice bounce on the Bitcoin price. Now, I know I don't ask for much, but if you could please hit the subscribe and the like button. I love making these videos because it gives you an insight as to where we are in the market right now, so you can make a decision on whether you want to buy more altcoins or sit in your hands and wait for a better buying opportunity. Follow us on this journey because we upload videos every week, not just on market updates, but also on new altcoins that are coming onto the market. And I am planning to drop a video about that within the coming weeks. So subscribe for that, leave a like on the video, and click the video up above if you want to get my perfect altcoin portfolio so you're set up for this crypto bull run. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.